the perfect sacrifice. That's what this is. We're going to look at it. So, from the beginning, man that was made by God was intended to dwell with God, fellowship. From the garden account throughout the intended purpose of man through that life, fellowship. And we fell, and then once we did, we brought the sin nature upon all of us, and it split. It separated us. And there was built-in fail-safes that took effect once that happened. What I mean is, everything was perfect. We have to understand the perfect designer, the perfect creator is God Almighty, and He set it up. He knew it was going to happen. At the same time, He had it set up for where if it did happen, He had it already prepared, already ready to take account. It's already effective, it's already ready to go. The fail-safes of His life, of this world, were already built into it. We have death now. Split away from immortality to now being mortal, to we're subjugated to death. The fallen state of man's sin, we're subjugated to sin. Our limitations and the things we can do with our flesh bodies, that your eyesight, your hearing, or sense of smell, or breathing, or whatever, all that's been greatly limited, especially your mind has been greatly limited to the fall. Subjugated to sickness, subjugated to time. You have to understand, where God dwells, it's eternity. There's just no present time. It's just existence. Where eternity is and where He dwells is just called existence, because there cannot be, it can't be called time, because you can't measure it. It's just forever. It's literally just vast amounts of existence. Subjugated to evil, subjugated to suffering, and subjugated to negative feelings and emotions and problems of this life. But it was also fixed with a perfect sacrifice. And the bond that was broken was the bond of love. Because where love is the greatest bond of all, and we know that God is love. And I'll give you that verse. But the bond that we broke from, was love. And the bond that fixed it was love also. Now the funniest thing is, the bond that we broke from was God, and the bond that fixed everything was God. Let me go to John, 1 John 4. We can touch on 16. I'll leave it at this. And we have known and believed the love that God hath to us. God is love. And he that dwelleth in love dwelleth in God, and God in him. Key. And he that dwelleth in love dwelleth in God, and God in him. That's fellowship right there. There's a backup right there. The perfect fellowship that we broke from was out of love. It's the greatest bond. It cannot be described. It's just a feeling that you can't really explain to someone. It's just so utterly powerful. It just happens. You can't really describe it. But the same love that we broke from fixed it all. Let's go back to John. And this is an overview of 3:16, and this should shed some light. Inside joke, Jesus Christ, 8:12, John. But this should shed some truth on this matter. 3:16, for God so loved the world, God the Father. Keep in mind, he had his bow bent, he could have let it go and wiped everything out. But for God so loved the world, I have to understand this perfect love, that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. God the Father loved the world by sacrificing his only begotten Son. And Jesus Christ sacrificed himself for the love of all. So God demonstrated His love towards us while we were yet sinners. Christ died for us. God the Father loved the world to sacrifice His Son. Jesus Christ loved the world to sacrifice Himself, that whosoever believes in Him shall not perish but have everlasting life. Jesus Christ's perfect sacrifice was when He came to the earth to die for the sins of all. That when He was buried, He took those sins with Him, so that when He rose again the third day to justify Himself, to show who He was, and to end the condemnation that was brought forth from this, and that when He ascended to heaven and applied the blood, He stained the mercy seat with His righteousness, take away the sins of the world, and by your soul you're bought with the price, the precious blood of Christ. So that salvation is a free gift, bought and paid in full, out of the love of God, by love. It was love that He did it, and it was love for you, for all. For all. But anybody listening, it was the love He did for you. He made you. Even though we broke away, He came to fix it. His own literal life, His own literal blood, because He loved you. The tremendous sacrifice truly is not in our grasp. Everything Jesus Christ went through in a downcasted, fallen, sinful world, for 33 years being perfect, righteous, and holy, that's not a small sacrifice. And the tremendous death that He paid for the love of all can never be explained. Simply, it is the greatest gift ever to mankind. It is the perfect sacrifice, and His name is Jesus Christ. If you simply believe on Him, He'll save you forever. He said in 6:47, Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth upon me hath everlasting life. God bless.